Yo, what is good everyone? Welcome to another GeoGuessr video. And in this one I'm going to be doing a bit of a review, sort of an explanation video on my latest high score. And it's on the format 10 seconds, no moving, panning or zooming. It's going to be on this map, A Community World, and I basically have 10 seconds to look at a still image of somewhere in the world and I have to guess where it is. As you can see, I get 24,488, which is a pretty good score, both as a personal best and kind of in the large scheme of things. Be running through this and kind of explaining my thought process. So let's get into it. So load into the first round here and we seem to be somewhere in the Middle East, in the Levant area. So Israel, Jordan or something like that. Kind of reminding me more of Israel. So I just go into the map here, and with these first rounds, the first one and kind of the second one, you're not thinking that this is going to be a high score, so you just go fast, you go anywhere, and yeah, but this was actually a pretty good first round and definitely a score we can continue with. So we get 4,937 and we are just right here in Palestine, so kind of in the middle of the two, and yeah, a pretty good guess. 23 kilometers away, can't complain about that. Alright, second round here, and we're going to be in Guatemala. We have these yellow lines here, so that puts us in the Americas most likely. Obviously you can get them somewhere else, but with this kind of landscape and everything else. And then also this car is the Guatemala car. If you know you're going to be in Latin America and you kind of see this car here with the side mirrors exposed, that will always be in Guatemala. Make sure you're not tripping up on Laos or anything like that. Going to be in Guatemala. It's a small country. It's great to guess in, and we're going to pick up a lot of points if we region guess effectively. So jumping into the map here, just click somewhere east of the capital, and it ends up not being too far away from where I guessed. So just 50 kilometers there, and we don't drop too many points. I think we've dropped, yeah, about 200 overall. This next round is looking quite difficult, but we do have some clues. I mean, we have this plate here, first of all, and it's a bit like short to each side, reminding me of Italy immediately. This architecture is supporting that theory, as well as these trees. And this landscape as well. Now, the trees plus the landscape is kind of reminding me of central Italy, and this sign as well. Jump into the map here and just make my guess sort of central, a bit northeast of Rome, and it is actually a very good guess, 23 kilometers, and yeah, only dropping about 50 points there. So next round, I'm very happy to see this one. It's just going to be somewhere in Israel or Palestine. I've only dropped 250 so far, so on a very good score. That is why this round is very good to get. Not immediately sure of where this is. Definitely not going to be north or south with kind of how this looks. Not too green, but not too dry. Do see some Hebrew, so I was thinking it was Israel here, but it does fit a bit more that it's in Palestine. And I try to find this place, so I go around this latitude here, and it actually ends up being right there, and so very good latitude, very close there, but I end up clicking a bit further west there in this green part, which in hindsight doesn't make too much sense, but you only have 10 seconds, so it's whatever. But those points, we dropped 80 points, and that could be important later on, definitely when we get into the leaderboard and stuff like that. Yeah, but great score overall. The next one is, and this is a very pivotal round here, and it can change everything. So I'm glad to see this one because, first of all, it looks like Iceland, but it's not. I'm from Iceland, so it's kind of easier to tell, but obviously this coverage is much more common in the Faroe Islands. So that's where I think we're going to be here. And also this language says Botnur, and the UR at the end here wouldn't exist in the Icelandic version of the word. Also, if it was like a place name, then you wouldn't have those two letters at the end there. So recognizing this is Faroese is great here because the language is pretty much just isolated to the Faroe Islands, and Faroe Islands are a small place and will lend us a bunch of points if it ends up being there. We got the landscape here, we got the language, and sort of this coverage that I really haven't seen in Iceland, so I can't really be anywhere else. I jump into the map and I sort of hedge north here. I mean, most of the land is north here, and it could be here, it could be here, it could be anywhere in my mind. So yeah, make the guess, but it ends up being a south here, so we do drop 180 points at the end. And yeah, in hindsight probably could have hedged a bit further south, but you can always say what if on these rounds here. So yeah, so that is basically it. I mean, we get 24,488 points, and the total we're only 200 kilometers away, which is great. 2 of them in Palestine, one in Guatemala, one in Italy, and one in the Faroe Islands, all being fairly small countries except for Italy. Great guess in Italy as well. You know, I really couldn't do anything but heads on that last one, considering the luck that I had on these other rounds here. Alright, so jumping into the leaderboards here, and we can actually see something very surprising. So the 5th place here is ZA Knowledge, and he has 24,528. Comparing that with my score, it's only 40 points above mine. And looking at some of these gaps here, I mean, obviously a crazy game by Bogey here, but 200 points here, a bit less than 100 points here, and then 44 points between these. So ours is, you know, potentially the lowest gap here if we were to put this in 6th place. It wouldn't be an overestimation to say that my score is in the top 10, although it will get more stacked the further you go down, but at least top 10 is, you know, feasible for my score. So feels kind of crazy to say, but it could be top 10 here, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, obviously some of these games that include much more talented guesses than what I had a very lucky seed, don't get me wrong. You know, Faroe Islands, 2 Palestines, but it's one thing getting that lucky seed, which that one definitely was, but it's another thing playing it right and playing it well. So like Guatemala, easily could have dropped 200 points, 300 points on that one, which I often do in Guatemala, to be honest. The Faroe Islands, you know, I could have probably played that better, probably the worst guess I could have gotten there. But the Italy is definitely the star of the show here, which is just insane. I think the closest to guess, which is crazy. And then the 2 Palestines, very close on both of them. Got the latitude pretty correct on both of them. But yeah, the Italian guess was very good. And sort of, you can always say what if with these sorts of things, but with the Faroe Islands here, I mean, we could have been much closer on that one, and I think with a closer guess, maybe if I were to go on that southern island, which I probably never was, but let's take the Guatemala plus the Faroe Islands, for example. If I hedged on the Faroe Islands, and if I, you know, went a bit more east from the capital, it was never going to be that urban, and I clicked in a pretty urban area, so, you know, I could have probably scratched into the top 5 there, but you can always say what if, and, you know, knowing my skill level and my capabilities probably was my best version of, you know, playing that game. So pretty much all I have for that. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. This was definitely an accomplishment. It's my PB in this mode, and probably my best GeoGuessr game ever if I think about it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.